This piece today did not work out the way that I had initially intended it to. And it was a surprise piece, do you know what I mean? One of those pieces that you just weren't expecting. I mean, it wasn't as if I'd started out with an end point in mind or anything like that, but I had intended this piece to be the third one in my series of keeping layering. In that series, everything that I've done so far has kind of ended up quite abstract, with no focal image or anything like that. Now, if you've missed my recent videos, or maybe you're new here, then my Keep Layering series, well, it's a creative exercise that I've been practicing and hopefully encouraging you guys to practice as well. And the idea is that you push through those stop barriers that stop you adding that next layer, and you just keep going, keep going, keep going. And it's supposed to help you get through your fear, basically. You know, those things that make you finish a piece because you're not sure if, you'll add another layer and that's going to mess it up. So you just kind of stop and it's not finished, but you stop anyway. And if you haven't tried it yet, I really do encourage you to give it a go. And it's a great way of freeing up your art. And I do talk about it some more in the other videos. So I'll link those up in the description and also in the cards as well. And this piece today was meant to be one of those. But as you see, if you keep on watching to the end, it turns into something entirely different, really. It went on its own little journey. But I think this comes at a great time because, well, hopefully it will inspire you to try out the Keep Layering exercise, because you never know what will come out of it. And if whilst you're layering you have that urge to try something else, then there's nothing stopping you from doing that, so go for it. So when I started this piece, I decided to try layering acrylics, but this time I'm going to use them like a watercolour. And I'm working on a mixed media paper for this, but you could also happily work on a watercolour paper as well. And all of the products that I've used today are listed in the description below as always. Now, using acrylics like a watercolour is really great fun, and it's perfect for layering because unlike with watercolour paint, when you use acrylics like this, they still give you some of those wonderful qualities that we all love in watercolour paint, but with the added bonus that once they're dry, they stay in place so you can keep layering over the top. So perfect for our keep layering exercise. So this piece was actually quite quick, and one of the quickest that I've done for a while. My other keep layering exercises have taken over an hour to do. This one, it finished in under 40 minutes. So you can already see that there's not going to be as many layers in this one as in some of those other ones, but you'll see why if you keep watching. Now, I did use a heat tool to speed up the process because I am using a lot of water, and to also try and manipulate some of the textures too. So if I'd let it dry naturally, then it would have taken a lot longer. But it's not too different to my other projects because I do occasionally use a heat tool there as well to speed things along a little bit. And I think another thing about using acrylics like this and in this way for this layering exercise, it is quite challenging to keep layering because now your layers are translucent. So you can see your workings, so to speak. So if you want to step up your layering game and change it up a little bit, then do try going translucent and seeing how it works for you. Now, the whole translucent and opaque nature of paints can be a little confusing when you're a beginner, and I do get questions on this quite a lot. But generally, if you have an acrylic paint and you add water to them, it's going to thin them out, so even your opaque acrylics will become more translucent. And your acrylic paints will be fine watered down when you're using them on a paper substrate like this. Now, as I move through my layers, I do add some smaller opaque details, some doodles, some dark colours as well. And I do a lot of my scribble writing. And then something a bit different for me, I actually do some actual writing. And I prefer scribble writing usually because I find it more freeing and more spontaneous. I can scribble write with a subject in mind and thinking about words, but without having to form the words and write them down. But with real writing, I have to be a lot more careful about it, and it kind of reins me in a little bit, and it slows me down. And even if I'm not making sentences that are to be read, I don't know, there's something about it that definitely sort of is more controlling, I think. Or maybe it's just the way I do it, I don't know. For this one, I'm using a theme like I'm thinking about paint, I'm thinking about colour for this writing. And as you'll see with this piece, it turns floral, but even at this later level where I am writing and thinking and using words, I'm not using any floral words or flower words because I haven't thought about turning this into florals yet. That comes later. And it appeared randomly really, but it's perfect because in June, I think June, I'm going to have a bit of a floral theme going on, both here on YouTube and also in Patreon as well. So if you're one of my art explorers or process addicts over on Patreon, then in June we will be looking at different mixed media floral ideas and different ways to add florals to your work. But even if you aren't on Patreon with me, then there will be some time-lapse floral art here on YouTube too to enjoy. Now if you're wondering what pen I'm using to draw my flower with, well, it's just an ordinary ballpoint pen, and those of you who've watched my work before, then you know I do sometimes add in some ballpoint pen in every now and again. I love how thin you can get the line, and I also like the fact that on this particular piece I've got that black paint pen which is very dark and intense, and then this line doesn't disturb that, it doesn't fight with it because it gives you another type of black. Now the placement of the flower head and that leaf really came about from the placement of those purple brush marks, and I made the leap when it suddenly occurred to me that a flower would work really well here. It was those brush marks that led the design. Now I really love the way that this piece is completely additive. So unlike those other layer pieces, this one you can see every single layer, none of the layers are hidden. And that's what I meant by you can see your workings. So every mark that I made, well, it is still there at the end. And it is a different way of layering up if you've been doing this kind of layering practice. So yeah, have a go with this, have a go with your translucents, see what you can do with them and how many layers you can build. And then if you have an urge to draw a huge flower on there, then go for it. Or you know, it doesn't have to be a flower, does it? It could be a butterfly, it could be a heart, it could be one of your favourite shapes. You could put a load of circles on here, that would be really cool. Have a think about what you like and what you would love to see there and how you would do it, and change it up and make it completely yours. So to get you in the mood for more florals that are going to be coming up in June, then watch these flower inspiration videos that I already have on my channel, and I will see you over there next.